Hello everyone, welcome to GB Bricks. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 10 of the best sets in my opinion that are retiring at the end of 2025, so just a couple of weeks before these sets will start to disappear. I've tried to pick sets from a number of different themes and a number of different price points. Not always easy because LEGO is very expensive these days. They do seem to favour bigger sets, but hopefully there's something on here for everyone if you're looking for a last minute pickup. So which sets do I believe are the best that are retiring at the end of this year? Well, let me show you. Let's start then with set 71411, which is the Mighty Bowser. This set released in October 2022 and is a large brick-built version of Mario's adversary, Bowser, and is a very imposing figure once built. This actually made my list of 10 of my best LEGO sets of all time. I'll put a card to that in the top right hand corner if you want to give that a watch. And it now sits proudly on my shelf with a small diorama around it of some of the other Mario brick-built characters that you could have got over the years. This was one of the most enjoyable build experiences I've ever had, seeing Bowser himself come together as you kind of build the inside of him. It almost feels like a machine, like a robot you're building, as you see what's going into keeping him together and making him so strong so he doesn't fall apart. And the finished product is quite exceptional. Right, let's go a bit smaller for the next one then. This is 40650, which is the Land Rover Classic Defender. So you had a couple of Land Rover Defenders release. You had this small version and a larger version. For the sake of variety, I've gone for this small one, but having said that, it's just a very good set. It released in June 2023 and it sells for about £13.49 here in the UK, which makes it a nice, almost hybrid between LEGO City small vehicles that cost about £8–9 and the larger 8-stud wide Speed Champion sets that themselves these days go for about £23–24. Definitely worth picking up this one if you have a LEGO City that you want to populate with vehicles, or you just like small LEGO vehicles. It's a good price point and a very good finished product. Right, next is 75357, which is the LEGO Star Wars Ghost and Phantom 2. Now, there were a couple of LEGO Star Wars sets I could have put in. I'm going to say first and foremost, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Not really a fan at all. I've seen all of the films and a couple of the spin-off shows, but I'm in no means any sort of authority on it. But there were a couple of the larger ships that I would have recommended, this being one of them, of course. You had the Coruscant Guard gunship and the Onyx Cinder. And the reason I've gone for this one was because there was a Ghost ship before that became incredibly hard to get for a good price. Once it retired, it was incredibly expensive on the secondary market. And this one released in September 2023, so about 2.5 years by the time it retires, just under. It may be that this one does become sought after once it retires for the same reason. The Coruscant Guard gunship, I would recommend. I like the aesthetic of that one first and foremost, but because it's tied to the prequels or the Clone Wars, there's definitely a lot of nostalgia building for that era of Star Wars these days. You know, people that saw that as a kid are now in their 20s. Me being that bit older, I can remember that these films were really not liked at all when they first came out. But yeah, that nostalgia has built over the years. So it could be a good one for an investment, if nothing else. And the Onyx Cinder, which I do own actually. I don't buy many Star Wars sets, but I did buy that one. I have no knowledge of the source material. I know there was a spin-off show with Jude Law in it that this is based on, but I just think it's a great looking ship. It reminds me of some of the classic LEGO space ships, and I got it on sale when LEGO themselves put it on a sale fairly recently. So they're the three that I would recommend, but I've gone with this one for the list itself, owing to the fact that there's history there that says this one will be quite sought after. Whether the fact there's two versions of this now will dilute that a touch, possibly, but just something to bear in mind. Right, 71821, we're looking at LEGO Ninjago now. This is Cole's Titan Dragon Mech. Now, this was actually my set of the year for last year. It actually released just last year in June 2024, so it's only had about 18 months on the market. This, for me, is one of the best mechs that LEGO have ever built. They put all of their budget into the mech themselves. There was no small side build. There wasn't an abundance of characters. In fact, you only got one minifigure with it, being Cole. The rest of the money went into making the mech as good as it could be, and it really shows. It's an absolutely fantastic model, another one that I have on one of my shelves. And these mechs do quite well in the aftermarket with specific collectors. The fact it's only had a small shelf life, and I think it will really be appreciated more once it's retired when it's compared to other mechs. For a good price point of £89.99, has dropped in price since then. I've seen it for around about the £60 mark a lot of the time, which is an incredible deal, to be honest. Very, very good model. Next, again, I've tried to go a bit cheaper. We've got 60461. This is Lego City. It's the red farm tractor with trailer and sheep. This came out this year, actually, January 2025. The thing with Lego City is they do recycle a lot of their ideas, so there will be another tractor at some point. So this is not one I'd recommend to someone that's looking to collect for any sort of investment value at all. I was really looking here for something that was cheap to begin with, that may be cheaper now as shops try to get rid of that last bit of stock, but gives you a good amount of stuff, if you like, for your money. You know, good value for money in terms of pieces or character count, that sort of thing, if you're looking to buy presents for Christmas. So here you get the tractor and the trailer, as the name of it implies. There are some sheep in there. I think there's a dog and a lamb, perhaps, as far as I can remember, and a couple of minifigures. For about £17.99 RRP at least, I think that's a good deal if you are looking for some last minute present. Nothing major, I would say, in Lego City retiring this year. There are definitely bigger sets in this retiring, but this one, like I said, was more for parents perhaps looking for some last minute cheap presents to bulk out Christmas stockings and what have you. Okay, 76178, which is Lego Marvel's Daily Bugle. This released in June 2021, so it's the oldest set on this list. 4.5 years shelf life by the time this retires. I know this is a very popular set, so one I've put on here almost as a bit of a public service announcement to let people know it's retiring if it's one you've had on a wish list and keep putting off because it is quite expensive. This is one for me that it doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not massive into superheroes, to be perfectly honest, anyway these days, but it just doesn't, it looks like it should look, so you can't blame the set, but just for me it doesn't really do it for me aesthetically. What it does do very well is have an abundance of minifigures in there, some really good ones that you just don't see anywhere else. People like Daredevil and Blade included in this set, so you know, it almost tempts you just for the minifigures. I will say, I believe there is a smaller, cheaper Daily Bugle coming out next year, which is about a third of the price of this, and obviously it will show in terms of bulk and characters, minifigures, you know, size, aesthetic, etc. But if you really want a Daily Bugle and are really struggling to justify paying this much, at least have a look. It's on Lego's own website. Have a look and see if that would satisfy you, and you may save yourself a bit of money doing that instead. But yeah, this is definitely one that's highly appreciated in certain circles, so I've put it on the list for that. Right, then we have 76274 going from Marvel to DC. We've got the Batmobile, Batman versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze. So this is based on the animated series, and they went with a slightly controversial blue for the Batmobile itself. It was black in the show, as it is in most forms of media for Batman, but because of the way the show was animated, any time that it was in motion and it was driving under street lights or anything like that, it would have a blue hue to it, and Lego decided to make that the primary colour. I quite liked the idea. It does make it different if you collect Batmobiles, and the minifigure selection I think is good too. Batman, of course, but Harley Quinn, although she's become very popular these days and there have been a few versions of her in Lego sets, she originated in the animated show, so I think it was a good choice to have her in this set. And Mr. Freeze, whilst he didn't originate here, he became very popular because they gave him an origin story about his wife, made him almost a sympathetic character, an origin story that the film Batman and Robin that came out in '97 copied and did it much worse. So some thought's definitely gone into the character count there. This is very expensive for what you get, which seems to be a theme with these Batmobiles. If you can find it for a decent price, I would recommend it. There are some more Batmobiles coming out next year, so I understand why this one would be retiring. I think you might be getting one from Batman and Robin, the film I just mentioned. But a decent little set, and just quite different compared to some of the other Batmobiles. Right, then we have 21335, which is the Motorized Lighthouse. This released in September 2022. So a bit later than the Daily Bugle, but again, one that's been out for a while. Got this for my wife actually, and that wasn't me buying her a present that she wouldn't appreciate because I liked it. We were out and about for her birthday in London and did a few shops, and she saw this in the Lego store, the Leicester Square one, and really liked it and wanted it, so we got it for her. But it's a lovely set, obviously motorized as it says there. Looks fantastic when built, really a lovely display piece, very intricate. Good, interesting build, and just the sort of thing that you wouldn't imagine Lego would ever make again to this level of detail. It's another one that's expensive. I know here in the UK, John Lewis do stock it and they have had it on sale. periodically. I don't know if they'll do another one before the end of this year, but it's another one really just to be aware that it's retiring, because it's great, and I do think some people will regret not getting this. It might be like another Fishing Shack, that one that retired and everyone wished they'd bought. So yeah, just again, just be aware. The penultimate set is 76440, which is the Triwizard Tournament, the Arrival. This is from Harry Potter, of course, sorry, I should have said. And it's the Goblet of Fire, isn't it? The fourth book / film, where you had the Triwizard Tournament, obviously, but you had the Durmstrang school visit in their ship, and you had, what were they called? Beaubatons or something, the other school, and they came in like flying carriages. This includes all of that with a host of characters from that storyline. This is a fantastic set. I got this for my birthday last year. It only came out last year, June 2024, so it's only going to have an 18-month life cycle. They did do a Durmstrang ship really early on in the Lego Harry Potter range. I can't remember exactly when. I'm thinking about 2006. I might be wrong there, but it was a while ago. And I can't imagine them doing another one anytime soon. So even if you're not a massive Harry Potter fan, if you're more into Lego ships, say, but you don't mind a bit of variety or a fantastical element to your collection, could be worth picking up. I would say this is one of the best sets on this list, certainly for its price point. I think it's very well priced. And another one I think that will be highly sought after once it retires. And the final one then is 21343, which is the Viking Village. This comes from Lego Ideas and released in 2023, October 23. Now, I was going to put the Lion Knight's Castle on, which is also retiring, and I will give it a mention here obviously now, but it's very expensive. It's about £350, and I just wanted to go slightly cheaper. This is still itself about £125, but I do think you're getting very good value for money with this one in terms of how much stuff you get. Again, kind of a stuff per pound ratio, if you like. Lion Knight's Castle, well worth picking up, because again, once that's gone, I don't see anything like that happening for a while. But I've put this one on because I do think it deserves some love. I think it's a lovely little set, really well constructed, very clever idea in the first place that Lego then realised in very good fashion. And I just think it's going to be one that people regret not picking up once it goes, which, as I said at the start of this video, is very soon, in a couple of weeks' time. So there you have it. There's 10 of the best sets, I believe, that are retiring at the end of this year, with a couple of honourable mentions thrown in there for good measure. Do let me know of any sets that you feel are worth a mention, that are retiring, that you'd advise people, recommend people to pick up. Stick it all in the comment section below. Apologies if you are a regular viewer of this channel. Obviously, content has dried up significantly in the last few months. Basically, without going into massive detail, I injured myself last year. It was a double injury. I tore a tendon in my rotator cuff and my shoulder, and I trapped a nerve at the top of my spine. And those two injuries together have made building Lego incredibly painful. Just, you know, the constant looking down at what you're building, the movement, the intricate movements you need and what have you, the fine motor skills just haven't quite been there, and it's meant that I've not had a lot to do Lego-wise, and therefore not had a lot of content I could make. So I'm hoping that once this clears up a bit, I can pick this channel back up. But if you've stayed with me, I do appreciate it, and do feel free to watch any of the content that's on the channel to keep it ticking along in the meantime. I hope you found this useful. Please do give it a like if you did. Take care, and until next time, which is hopefully soon, happy building.